Hey, my name's Tom, this is Jake, I am a code monkey by trade, and he's a 3D modeler, and together we've decided to make a podcast. Get this, right? Just two dudes shooting the shit on mic. I think that's just what the world needs right now, never been done before. Wait, well, what we're actually doing is a 3D first-person survival horror game. Well, that's also perhaps overdone, but hey, everything's been done at this point, so why not? Besides, we're both horror junkies, and we've played enough games between the two of us to pick out the best bits that really worked well for us. When playing through some of the best and most well-known horror titles out there are bits we want and bits we don't want. So take Resident Evil, for example. It's visually impressive, and it's got a really good mix of puzzle and terror elements. But the concept of being able to kill the monsters and having bosses that you have to beat feels underwhelming. It sort of takes the helplessness out of the game and makes it feel like an action game at the end. Also, I don't know whether these are technically hot takes, but if you disagree with them, you can feel free to complain about them in the comments. We also look at Outlast for inspiration, specifically Outlast 2. It's got great interactions and a really nice first-person camera. You can look down at yourself and see your body and items on it, but it's way too action-packed and didn't give any time for terror to creep in. And then we've got Alien Isolation. It's my personal favourite. It's got good hiding mechanics, even if the locker doors make way too much noise. And an unbeatable alien that can reach you in a terrifyingly large amount of places. Nowhere is safe and the creature learns. But for me, it kind of misses the horror aspect a little bit. It feels more like a scary survival game. The two are different, I swear. Oh, apart from the androids. Fuck them. Oh, and it also has a flamethrower that makes the game kind of trivial by the time you get it. So points docked for that one, even if it is cool to use. Alright, all talk, no action. All that being said, first question was, how do we start? Which engine do we use, Unity or Unreal Engine? That's right, no other game engines exist other than these two. I'm a Unity man, a true simp for C# and game objects, but we decided to go with Unreal, because Jake thought it would be easier to make it look pretty, which might be true, but it made my life a hell of a lot harder. Lots of compilation teething issues and learning their actor and pawn and actor component and blueprint setup. No, for real, the blueprint system was a big reason because it lets Jake implement things that I lay out the code for. Like, I made these lights, for example, and they were super easy to hook up, so that's a bonus for the future. I'm still not sure whether the Switch was worth it, but at least I've learned a new game engine. I get that out of it at least. The first problem to tackle, and by far the most important, is the character. The character is what grounds the player into the world. The realer feeling the character, the more real the horror. It's what I liked about Outlast and Alien Isolation and Resident Evil. Their characters' interactions with the world made the world feel real. So far, I've got some basic animations and experimented with a foot IK system to get to know Unreal's animation system and actor setup a little. But this is all very much placeholder and initial just groundwork. I really want it to feel real, to be able to look down and see a body moving well in response to input, but there'll be ongoing work for a while on this one since it's so crucial a part of the game. Meanwhile, my boy Jake over here is trying to find the look of the game. He's the creative vision, and I'm just the code monkey, so he's in charge of making the stuff in his head a horrible reality. We're going for an industrial sci-fi underwater facility with minimal use of electricity. Think Wolfenstein, gone Lovecraftian, and without the guns, and also without the Nazis. He's got a concept section to try and nail the look, some cramped and cluttered pipework to make the player feel confined and trapped. All the texturing is apparently just conceptual for now and experimental. We want it to look a lot darker and grimier for the finished product. Meanwhile, I set to work on figuring out how we let the character interact with the world, considering that there's a lot of complexity that lies within that problem. As an example, the character, and perhaps the monsters as well, need to handle climbing ladders with hand and foot IK, hiding places, one-shot animations, contextual animations like you run through a door by sprinting at it, or you peek while crouching through it, picking up and dropping objects, using objects on other objects. You know, in all, it has to be robust enough to handle pretty much any idea we have. In the end, I've gone for a lightweight component that interactable objects can extend with blueprints, with separate interaction points to show where you can start the interactions. Here's one I made earlier. It's an example of a door. We have a variety of interaction points for opening and closing from either side, and we can implement animation montages to play for each door state and interaction user type to keep it generalized. As you can see, the actual open animation isn't really present right now, but the interaction point shows up, and an animation montage plays and the state changes, which is the groundwork of more complex things, so I call that good. Doing it like this lets Jake implement stuff without having to handle icky code, and I don't have Jake breaking my icky code, so that's a win-win. And that was 2 months worth of work, baby, more or less. That's what you get for having a full-time job, I suppose. I promise there'll be more to show next time. I'm aiming to improve the character controller, or just fix it, you know. I want to figure out locking the camera, or allowing small range of sort of looking around when you're within an animation, allowing you to specify that in parameters. I'd like to implement the first of the complex interactables we'll be having. I'm looking at you, turny wheel. Maybe add in a rudimentary physical inventory on the body as well. Jake's going to handle whiteboxing the level with some assets. Maybe we can have the first interactable submarine-style door opening going on. It should add our first layer of life to an otherwise bland playground. Now, the last time I tried making devlogs, I made the terrible mistake of mentioning the word weekly, and then regrettably I never made a single devlog again. I'm going to try and make it a weekly thing. Link in the description for that train wreck. So this time, I've learnt my lesson. Bi-monthly. Not twice a month, once every 2 months. Yeah, I know, not often. Sucks to be you, I guess. I apologise to all my loyal fans who are eagerly awaiting every single one of my videos. I have someone doing my editing for me this time, since I hate editing, so hopefully it'll help me stick to my schedule. And lastly, thanks to all my Patreon supporters, shown here. This wouldn't be possible without you.